Welcome back to Elemono Brackets. I'm Jason, and this is your home for all things related to March Madness, the greatest sporting event on planet Earth. So, this book contains over 1,000 pages. It's thick, it's about 2 inches thick, and if I were to mark a single page at random and ask you to open that book directly to that page on the first try, you'd have about a 1 in 1,000 chance of doing so, just flipping it open, getting to the right page. Not great. These are the rough odds of about flipping a coin to heads 10 times in a row, or flipping a coin and guessing the right outcome 10 times in a row. But these odds are incredibly good when compared to the subject of the video series that we are launching today.
The Perfect Bracket Project.
If you're a March Madness fan like me, then you're well aware that picking a perfect bracket, all 63 games correct in the tournament, is considered impossible. And really it is. Let's look at these odds when compared to other remote possibilities, like flipping to the right page in a 1,000-page book is about 1 in 1,000. The odds of being struck by lightning in your lifetime, 1 in 15,300, which actually seems frighteningly high, especially considering I live in Florida. The odds of having quadruplets is 1 in 700,000. The odds of being bitten by a shark, 1 in 4 million. Maybe that's an encouragement when you go to the beach this summer. The odds of winning the Powerball, about 1 in 300 million. The odds of being in a plane crash. This should be pretty encouraging to those of you who have a fear of flying. About 1 in 800 million. And the odds of picking a perfect bracket is 1 in 9.2 quintillion. Now let me say that number in full. It's 9 quintillion, 223 quadrillion, 372 trillion, 36 billion, 854 million, 775,808. How long did it take me to read just that number? 10 seconds? It's 19 digits long. It's 2 to the 63rd power. So 63 games in the tournament, and there's 2 possible results in each game. Let's put that in a different perspective. You're over 31 billion times more likely to win the Powerball than you are to pick a perfect bracket. You're actually quite a bit more likely to win the Powerball 2 consecutive times in a row. These are ridiculous odds. Now, numbers that big get silly, so let's give it a visual. Let's go back to this book. So picking a perfect bracket would be like flipping to the exact right page in a book with 9.2 quintillion pages. Now, this book is 2 inches wide with 1,000 pages, and I did the math, and I checked this 3 or 4 times to make sure it's correct. A book with 9.2 quintillion pages would be wider than our solar system. Not just from the sun to the widest orbit of Neptune, but from Neptune's widest orbit to the complete other side of the solar system. A book with that many pages would be wider than that. And picking a perfect bracket would be like flipping to the exact right page in that book on your first try. It's ridiculously impossible then, right? But I believe that it's possible, and I think this way for 2 reasons. One is the actual probability is quite a bit less, and volume, just filling out enough brackets so that enough people have a chance to actually do it. Now, in terms of actual probability, that 9.2 quintillion number assumes that every game is roughly this: a coin flip, a 50-50 chance with 2 possibilities. Team A wins or Team B wins. But we know that that actually is not true. Not every game is a 50-50 chance. The 1/16 game, for example, the 16 seed is won twice in 160 tries. So that's like a 99% chance that the 1 seed is going to win. And if we look at this chart, for example, shows the actual results of the first round games of the 40 tournaments in our modern era, or the 64-plus team era. Now, only one of these first round matchups, the 8-9 game, is actually a 50-50 proposition statistically. The 5-12, the 6-11, and the 7-10 games are roughly 60-40, and the other first round matchups are much more statistically lopsided. Now, as the tournament progresses, you get more even matchups generally, but fewer true coin flips. On average, about 30% of all NCAA tournament games result in an upset. And if you apply that to the whole of the tournament or the rest of the tournament, it means we got about a 70-30 chance of getting those games right. And so if you apply the math, like the real odds of picking these first round games and then throughout the rest of the tournament, the odds of picking a perfect bracket are actually about 1 in 3 billion, or 3 billion to 1. Or flipping to the exact right page in a book that's as wide as Florida, which is still ridiculous. It's an absurd number. If you'd have pages stacked from Tampa to Daytona, and you pick one out from at random and pick the exact right one, that's what it's like to get an NCAA tournament perfect bracket. It's still astronomical. You're still 10 times more likely to win the Powerball, but we're narrowing things down from solar system distance or solar system width to Florida width. So we're working our way down. I think we can work our way down even further and narrow those odds even further with an in-depth study of the bracket. And that's what we're going to do in this video series and on my blog. So we'll get to that in a few future videos. And the second reason I think a perfect bracket is possible is volume. Most of the bracket picking sites like CBS, Yahoo, ESPN, which is my favorite, they give each person or each username multiple brackets to fill out. ESPN's gives 25. So what I want to do over this series of videos I'll release between now and Selection Sunday in March is really study the tournaments of the past intensely to learn from them and narrow those odds so that we can develop a set of perfect bracket parameters that give us a chance that's less than the Florida width book and more like an Orlando to Daytona width book. And if enough people are pulling pages from that book, the better chance we have at catching lightning in a bottle and filling out a perfect bracket. We will learn from the past and we will flood these sites with perfect bracket, informed, thoughtful opportunities to get that perfect bracket. And so you can read more at elementalbrackets.com, and you can also see weekly bracketology picks for what the bracket would look like. And you can follow the channel, like, subscribe, share, and we'll join this perfect bracket journey together. Peace.